So the question is likely going to come up, where do we find these research articles and how do we do a systematic literature search? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show what I have done for a current meta-analysis that I'm doing. So the most frequently searched databases in education are ERIC, Education Full Text, Academic Search Premier, and PsycInfo. And then a lot of times we'll have, if we cross over into psychology and those kinds of things, we could include the Medline databases. And we find those by going to our library, clicking on Research, and we'll click on Article Databases. Or we could have just clicked Databases right there. It's taking longer than I'd like to, so I'm going to try it again. Okay. So the easiest way that I have found to do these searches is I click on Education Full Text. And then up here I can select Choose Databases, and I can actually do Academic Search Premier, ERIC. We have Education Full Text already selected, and then I can click Medline. I'm actually not going to click Medline for this one. Click OK, and then we're going to be searching. So this search would do Education Full Text, ERIC, and Academic Search Premier. Then we're going to add in our search terms. And in this one, I was using functional behavior assessment. So the parentheses here is like one line. So if we put parentheses in here, we can do the full line. So I have parentheses for functional behavioral assessment, and then I've got functional behavioral assessment in quotes. So that's going to find functional behavior assessment all together. So it's not looking for functional in the article, it's not looking for behavior in the article and assessment. It has to be in this order. So the quotes make it be in that order. And then this asterisk that I've put in here means that this could say behavior or behavioral or behaviors or anything like that. So I put in an asterisk if I want the word or the search term to include variations of that word. So in my first line, it would be functional behavioral assessment or quote FBA quote or functional analysis or function-based intervention. And then the and would drop us to a new line. So we could do it where I did the FBA stuff up here and then and right here. But the way that I have it written right now, I've got the and in here, so this could all be just copy and pasted into one line. And then destructive or destruction or something, or violence or aggression or aggressive or anything like that, or fight or fighting or fighting. So the asterisk again is giving us more hits on that, or hit or bully or punch or kick or pinch or bite or weapon. So I'm looking for research that looks at FBAs and includes the behaviors destruction or violence or weapon. I'm not putting in, though I could put in and students with disabilities, and that would limit my search even more. So then I would have my participants, the outcome, and the intervention. So now I can just grab this whole thing, pop it into there, and then I find I found 8 studies, which is a lot less than I did when I didn't put students with disabilities in there. So that and students with disabilities took me from, I think, 2,000 down to 8. So now in these articles, it has to say students with disabilities in that order within the article. But I can find now that I have 8 articles, and I can look for those articles, and I can see if those articles are doing exactly what I would want them to do. So let's see if we have found a study that is an intervention study. Let's not go with that one. Interlibrary loan may be helpful. These are just not feeling like studies, but let's take a look. Do we have a methods section? Nope. So, doesn't look like any of these are actually studies. And so what I would do at that point is I would take away something that is going to limit that search. And now you can see I have 1,007. So just by getting rid of students with disabilities, I have a whole lot more articles. And a lot of these, I've already gone through this search criteria before. And most of these have absolutely nothing to do with functional behavioral assessment and students with disabilities, but it's better to do a search where you are being too broad and getting too many things than doing a search that is too narrow, where you're not finding anything. So one of the fun things about doing a literature review is weeding out those studies that don't belong. So let's go ahead and look at this one. So we have a method section, and we have our graphs, which is a single case design. So I found an article. So what you're going to be doing is, and I can't stress enough the necessity to find all of the articles that have been done on a specific thing within your area, and read as much as possible. The more you read, the more you're going to get familiar with how they structure their articles. So I would really recommend that people are reading at least 1 or 2 research articles a week, just so that you can get yourself familiar with the idea of how these things are structured, and what information needs to be there. So if I was doing something on let's say oral reading fluency, so let's go with repeated reading. So I'm going to do repeated reading and oral reading fluency. So again, this repeated reading means the quotes mean that it's going together, so it has to be repeated reading in that order, and the article also has to have oral reading fluency, and it has to be in that order. And let's see what we come up with. So my independent variable is here, my dependent variable is here. Let's see what we find. So I have 125 results, and go ahead and click on one of these, make sure that it's an article that is useful, a research article, and we have our method section, participant and settings, blah, 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 blah. So that's how you conduct one of these lit searches, and this is how I expect you to be finding your articles. Again, the more that you read, the better off you're going to be.